I was, I guess you could say, like a massive cheater. I started my first company when I was in college, got that going. Once that was running, I wanted to start another. And then before my data company was even truly running itself, I was opening up a debt settlement company. And this was all before 24 or 25 years old.
We ended up going to a military base after a long night out, just like to kind of like, who cares? I want to see what it's like. I don't want to be with someone who has the same flaws as me because like you see the worst versions of yourself.
People like the person as a friend, but then like the sexual tension isn't there, so then the sex is bad or non-existent or whatever. And then when that happens, all of a sudden every little thing in the relationship bothers you. A sorority is just like a bunch of people who like decide that they're a sorority and like we're cool.
Liking photos, all that shit does not bother me. But any type of sexual interaction with someone, I would consider cheating. My insecurities don't bleed into my relationships because it's really weird, but I really don't have any. I feel very strongly about who I am. I feel like guys don't really mature sexually and like understand that, oh shit, a girl has to have an orgasm until like 40s.
Well, boyfriend dick is, as long as you're like within one standard deviation of the bell curve, I think that you fall within that, scientifically.
So. She's like, yeah, did you understand what he said?
Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Zach Evans, along with my co-host, Mohammed Molay. First of all, thank you to all of our fans. We've been getting a lot of growth and engagement over the last few months, and we got to thank all you guys out there for that. Today we got a couple special guests on the show. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, name, what you do, and your star sign. And we'll start with you.
Hey, my name's Alicia Waldner. I have a tech company and I'm a Scorpio.
My name's Sophia Dwyer. I am currently a law student and I am a Libra.
All right, so we can be party friends. We're going to be mortal enemies, yeah.
What are you?
I'm the best one.
What is
smart,
the best one?
Smart, funny, tall, attractive, smart, funny, and attractive. Yeah.
You knock it all out.
Yeah, Pisces.
Okay, got it.
I identify as an Aries, though. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
all right.
Please refer to me how I choose to identify.
Okay, I will respect it. We got an Aries in the house, guys.
Yeah. No, Scorpios are cool. You guys are just a little bit...
insane.
Yeah.
We're crazy.
Toxic is the word a lot of people like to use. I don't like to use that, of course. But like for other people, yeah.
I am a very open person, and I would say I definitely was toxic in part of my life. So I will own it. So I had to go through my healing process, and now, you know, I'm more like an Aries.
What do you mean you were toxic parts of your life? What did you do?
I didn't heal from like my traumas when I was younger, and I was like one of those people, I guess it's a Scorpio kind of personality, to act like I don't have feelings or emotions and that I'm this hard bitch and nothing can hurt me. And that definitely affected me as I got into my relationships in my adult life. Mm-hmm. So
what did you specifically do that made you toxic? That was a very political...
I did a good job at like masking it.
Yeah, of course.
No, but
you can't get away with it here.
No, I'm gonna be screwed. No, I was, I guess you could say, like a massive cheater. I lived multiple lives. Like I took myself down a really bad path, and I just wasn't honest for let's say for like a few years in my relationship, and I just could not get out of it. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like I literally had multiple lives. It was wild.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
And then this particular relationship you're referring to, is that one relationship or multiple relationships?
Well, I was cheating, so it was like...
No. But I'm asking, were you cheating on...
I was on and off with one person for a while.
Okay, so you were cheating on one person while cheating on other people within that relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with... Okay, how old were you when you started dating this person?
That one specifically, I'd say like probably 21, 22. But I was bad for a while. And like this wasn't just like...
Sure, we'll go back afterwards and try to see what you did before then. But so at 21, 22, you start dating your now one of your exes. And so at that point you're already exhibiting very toxic personality traits.
Yeah, not nearly as bad, but I already knew, like I always struggled with monogamy and I didn't understand why. So
how long through the relationship did you start to divert into the
crazy Scorpio,
Yeah.
the toxic Scorpio? When did that come out? I would say probably like 6 months into that relationship.
What happened specifically? Do you remember?
I mean, it was like a domino effect. Like the relationship itself, and listen, I will always take blame. Like I'm calling myself like a massive cheater. I will always admit my wrongs and my faults. But this relationship definitely didn't help this person because he was extremely controlling, and you cannot control, if we're going to talk about signs here, a Scorpio. So on top of that, it made me feel like I was in a box and I wanted to go crazy. But if I wasn't toxic myself, I wouldn't have done the things that I've done. But I mean, I couldn't really tell you where it started, but it started off with one lie, oh, I'm going to bed when really I'm going to a party. And then, I wake up and I fake that. Oh yeah, I slept so well, even though I'm hungover. And then, the next thing happened. It's like, oh, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend and it's not really my girlfriend. So it just one thing after another. And just to me, I thought not being truthful was better than telling the truth, because in the beginning, I'd say like, it wasn't anything too crazy that I was doing. It was just, he was very controlling. So I felt it was easier to lie than deal with telling him the truth and deal with an argument. And then from there, it really just got out of control.
Okay. And then, so the first time you cheated, do you remember the first time you cheated on him?
Absolutely not.
You don't?
No.
So you've cheated that many times?
Yeah.
Okay. So since you don't remember the first time you cheated on him, I guess, did you ever feel remorse? Did you ever feel like you were doing something wrong, or was it like...
That's where it got bad. So in the beginning, yes. And then it got so out of control that I didn't feel empathy. And that was the biggest thing that I had to understand in therapy. Like, I didn't understand how my actions were affecting the person I was with. Like, it's weird. It just like didn't connect. Like, you can kind of call it kind of narcissistic. And I had to really like work on that and understand like how it was impacting me. But I really didn't get to that point until I got a taste of my own medicine times 500. And that woke me the fuck up.
What's that story?
That was with a guy that I was cheating on with. He was one of the extra guys, and he got me down bad. Like, in the beginning, like, I didn't really feel anything between me and this person, and it was just, it is what it is. And then, I don't know, after a while, on and off of seeing this person, while I'm on and off in this relationship too, something just kind of switched. And I think a lot of it was because we're very similar, and that's why it was so toxic. My traumas, like, we kind of like trauma bonded together. So it brought out like the worst in him and the worst in me once things got kind of more serious. But I'd say like what made me so attracted to him was because for the first time, and I'd say forever, this person allowed me to be my fullest self. And I told him like right off the gate that I struggle with monogamy, that I'm in this relationship. And he was so accepting of it, where it was like, whoa, I can be myself and I don't have to like lie to you, and I don't have to like tell you something that you want to hear. Like you can deal with the truth. And it just felt so freeing that it made me ridiculously connected to him in a way that I've never really been connected with someone. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Oh my God, I sound crazy to you guys.
No, it's interesting. I like the psychology aspect.
Yeah.
So like when you were cheating, was the draw of it, was it more like the excitement of somebody new, or was it kind of like I don't want to be controlled, here's my like way of manifesting that emotion to prove to myself like I'm not controlled?
Yeah, I think I hate to say a little bit of both, but I'd say that I definitely got the way my personality is too is I love new things. And so like after a while, like I couldn't do the same thing over and over again. And this was applicable in everything in my life. I started my first company when I was in college, got that going. Once that was running, I wanted to start another. And then before my data company was even truly running itself, I was opening up a debt settlement company. And this was all before 24 or 25 years old. So I had this like addictive kind of personality of just something new and exciting. So I definitely say there was definitely a lot of that in there. But I definitely believe that the control aspect was a lot of me just trying to like break free and trying to just, be a little, I don't know, what is the word, devil, or not word devil. What's the rebel? There we go. Trying to be a rebel. So I think they're mixed.
Why not be in an open relationship to begin with?
So we tried that because I didn't really understand open relationship until someone that I was with that I shouldn't have been opened me up to this whole idea of open relationships and polyamory, because there was a point, I'd say like 2 years in, where I really started to hate myself because I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. It was almost like addiction. Like I couldn't stop, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I got to a point of really hating myself. And this one person came into my life and was like, Alicia, you're not a bad person. Just monogamy might not be for you, and that's fine and that's normal. And he really tried to help me with trying to be more honest, and didn't really work for, I'd say 2-3 more years. But yeah, so I don't remember what the question was. I just ranted.
The question is why not be in an open relationship to begin with?
So that being said, we did try to be in an open relationship. And I remember I was in Dallas and there was this guy and he came over or whatever. We went out. I don't remember. And like I told him that, met up with this guy. We kissed, whatever, and told him the truth. And I was like punished for it. He like ignored me for like 4 or 5 days, was so mean to me. And I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to be in an open relationship with you? I'm telling you the truth and I'm getting punished for it. So what did that do? It only made
open
me worse.
relationships are imaginary. They're not actually real.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you're fuck buddies. Like that's what you are. Like you're just fuck buddies that have a connection.
Yeah.
You know, like at that point.
Yeah.
There's really no difference.
What do you mean that you're fuck buddies that have connection? What does that mean?
Because it's like, okay, if you can both like fuck anybody you want, then it's like, what's the difference between friends with benefits versus like an open relationship? You know, I mean, you could call it whatever you want. You could make up the words and say these words mean the same thing. They're synonyms, is what I'm saying.
That would suggest that the only thing that makes a relationship is having sex with one person.
If you don't have sex with somebody, then it's a friendship. It's not a.
So in a marriage where couples go on for months at a time where they don't have sex anymore, are they no longer married or in a relationship? I don't understand.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. Like,
I like your point you're making.
Hang out, they've never had sex. They don't even kiss. Like, that's just a simp and like a girl who's using them for whatever she's using them for. Like, what do you mean? Like, if you're not having sex, it's a friendship. Like, okay, I understand you used to have a lot of sex and now you're married, so now your life is boring and you don't have sex anymore, whatever. Like, okay, but you're still like in a relationship because of the past sex you had and you can't have sex with other people.
I feel like a problem of open relationships is one person always wants it more than the other person. And so someone's getting hurt. It's like everyone who I know who's had a threesome while they're in a relationship, someone gets hurt. Like there's someone who wanted to do it more than the other person or someone who's into it more. And so for open relationships, it seems like a lot of the ones that I've seen, someone is like going out more and meeting more people and like trying to be in, you know, the open relationship more than the other person. And then feelings get hurt and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's essentially one person wants to fuck around. The other person is like, no, but I don't want to lose you, so I'll put up with you fucking around to stay in this relationship. I think that's 99% of open relationships, probably. Yeah.
I'd say it's a lot. I mean, that was the dynamic with mine.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to fuck around.
And that's why I got pissed when he found out you fucked around.
Yeah. It wasn't, he couldn't deal with it, but it's not for everybody either. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm completely different now. So,
I mean, it just sounds like the person you were with was trying to make the relationship work.
Yeah.
And you suggested the open relationship idea because you were cheating on him a billion times and he found out, I'm assuming. And then he was like, you know what, let's just try this thing. But he didn't realize what he was getting himself into because he never had that experience. And he was with you for a few years and getting cheated on left and right. So, you know, it's understandable. I you know, the notion that, you know, somebody always wants it more. I think that includes in a lot of different things in life. And so the reality of it is if somebody is in an open relationship, there has to be understanding, but not only there has to be understanding on both sides, there has to be very, very specific and very clear rules of engagement that both people agree on, because otherwise you're going to have issues. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like when you decided to be in an open relationship, you guys didn't really talk about what the rules were because it kind of was like...
We actually did, and we had like certain things that made both of us feel comfortable about like, okay, like when to tell. Do we tell the next day? Do we tell as it's happening? Like what do you want to know? How much information do you want to know? And it's still, even with the boundaries, was a lot for him to handle.
Do you think that the reason why it was a lot for him could be potentially because of the trauma you exerted throughout the relationship onto him? Or do you think like that?
I can't speak fully for him, but what I can say is I think that he really did have a lot of insecurities, and I think that they projected onto me, because even very early on into the relationship, it was like our first 2 weeks, and I had a business dinner with the CEO of Dippin' Dots, who's at the time, he sold it now, very widely successful, private jets, all the things. And I remember like him freaking out that I was going on this dinner, trying to tell me not to go on it. And I like literally was like, if this is what the relationship's going to be like, I'm out now. Like I don't put up with this. And I run businesses, and my company was working with Dippin' Dots at the time. And so like, it was a big deal for me to go on this dinner. You're not going to tell me I'm not going to get a deal done tonight. So yeah, that was kind of the starting point. So I can't say I exerted all this onto him. I think that he always had insecurities within himself that I didn't make any better.
Got it. So are you currently, so would you, your next relationship, would it be an open relationship or would it be monogamous?
Yeah. So now I'm jumping like a few years. I'm now 29. I'm always open to things. Like I'm not going to say 100% this, 100% that, but I will say I don't have that desire that I used to at all. And I enjoy giving myself to one person. And I don't, now that I have like the healed version of me, that type of like fire that you were asking me about, like, is it to prove people wrong or is it the excitement, is like not there.
But if you met a guy and he was like, hey, let's be in an open relationship, because that's the only relationship I would be in, would you be open to that, or are you going to say, no, I would like to be monogamous?
If I really like the person, possibly I would be like, I am very open-minded to that stuff. But I think right now with what I have in my life and where I'm at, it isn't something that I would sign myself up for. Mm-hmm. Unless the person like I felt really was somebody worth it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like searching like, hey, I need this. Like before it was like, I need an open relationship. If you like, I would literally go on a date and tell them, hey, can you do this? And if not, like it's donezo. Now that's not even like a criteria.
Right. Were most guys like, I feel like most guys would be pumped about that. Like, sweet, I can hook up with you. I can hook up with other chicks at the same time.
So you would think that, but their insecurities would come out. And like, even the guy that I was with that like ended up tearing my heart apart was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're the same person. We can handle this. I've never met a girl that can handle it. And I'm like, I've never met a guy who can handle it. So a lot of times guys will get insecure. They don't really ideally want their girl with somebody else. And it would test a part of their manhood that I don't think has ever been tested before. So it would actually make them, I think, go crazy like my ex. And but anyway, even that guy who like swore up and down this was his thing, lost his mind.
Lost. What was the story of him losing his mind?
I mean, he has his own issues. That's like a whole other separate thing. But he, as much as he thinks he could handle it, he couldn't. Like if he found out, like one time we were together and there was somebody that the week prior just literally went over his house. It was nothing crazy. And he was like all freaking out because he saw him and the guy was better looking than he is. Mm-hmm. So it made him kind of go down a spiral and act crazy and then try to get back at me in front of my face. Yeah, it's like we were very toxic. Mm-hmm. So, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Sophia, how old are you?
I'm 22.
And what's your relationship status?
I'm doing long distance right now.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend is in the Marines, so he's like in a foreign country. I don't even think I'm allowed to say where. Mm-hmm. And I don't get to know like anything about his daily life, but we've been together for only like 3 months. But we've known each other and had a situationship for 2 years.
How did you guys meet?
We met at a small little bar in Seattle. So I was at the University of Washington, and my friends and I would go to this bar called Flowers. It actually no longer exists. It was like falling apart when we went. And my friend and I would go and we'd use the excuse that we wanted to get mint in the mojitos. We were like, the mint is so good for our stomach, so healthy. We're going to go and be health gods. That's the only reason we're going to the bar.
Mojitos, yeah, definitely a health.
Like, that's the only...
I think it's considered a superfood, mojitos, right? A superfood, one of the 10 superfoods.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll take it.
But we were like obsessed, and we would ask for extra mint. Like, we really were playing into this idea that it was healthy. And anyways, we're sitting there. It's like 9 p.m. and we see, like, we hear the door. So we both turned our heads, and my current boyfriend and his best friend walked in. And we both like looked back at each other, and we kind of like made eye contact, and we're like, okay, let's like act cool now. And they ended up sitting next to us. And then 2 weeks from then, like, I didn't really talk to either of the guys. We ended up going to a military base after a long night out, just like to kind of like, who cares? I want to see what it's like. And my boyfriend's car, he lost the key to his car. It was like an old 2002 Bug. And we got stuck there for 3 days. So I was stuck with two strangers, like two boys that I had just met, in a military base that I wasn't allowed to be at for like 3 days.
Wait, I'm confused. You snuck into a military base?
I'm like, can I say that? Yeah. Well, it was like, you can...
Like, were you guys like drunk, like, oh, let's go find the nuclear codes?
Well, I mean, they had to go. Like, they had a requirement that they had to be there at a certain time in the morning.
I see.
And so it was like 6 a.m. and we're at my house, and we're like, what if like I come with? And then we ended up being stuck there. And they get like hotels, like the Marines pay for hotels for them. So I was just like chilling in the hotel, getting like breakfast in bed. It was kind of nice. Yeah. But we were stuck there for 3 days.
Crazy.
So lots of Everclear was involved. Yeah, it was great.
And so before that, how many relationships were you in?
One kind of problematic relationship. I was coming out of like a sexual assault situation, and I was kind of traumatized, and I had this really good guy friend that I was into, and it was like friends to lovers. Didn't work well. Like we were the same kind of person, and so we had the same flaws, and that just like did not mesh well together. We also were drinking a lot at that time, like a lot. So we would just like start screaming at each other, like, and so I don't know. I think that's something I've learned, is that I don't want to be with someone who has the same flaws as me, because like you see the worst versions of yourself.
That was my situation. Yeah. It'll bring out the worst in you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a mirror. It's a mirror of yourself. Yeah.
I have a theory about the whole friends thing, because that's what I always get arguments with my parents about this. They're like, yeah, you should like be friends with somebody for like this long ass time before you like start dating them. And I'm like, yo, if you're like hanging out with somebody for like more than a month and there's no like sexual chemistry there, or like tension or something, it's like you're probably friends for a reason. And like, yeah, maybe you guys really like bond and stuff in a friend kind of way. But it's kind of what we were talking about before. Then you're just in a friendship.
Right.
And then I think what happens is people like the person as a friend, but then like the sexual tension isn't there. So then the sex is bad or non-existent or whatever. And then when that happens, all of a sudden, every little thing in the relationship bothers you. That if the sex is good, it doesn't bother you. But when the sex isn't there, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, like she's like 2 minutes late for blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it's like a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least in our situation, it was like we had a big friend group, so we didn't want to disturb the friend group, you know? But a lot of my friends are going through that right now, where like the sex is bad. So now they find every little thing disturbing, or they just, it's a building of finding the other person annoying, like not even to do with the sex. So I've made it a practice with my boyfriend to ask him, like, what can I do to be a better girlfriend? Or even just like a better, like when we were a situationship, I'd ask like, what can I do to be better? Because I think starting with that transparency makes it so that down the road, they can't just throw you a curveball and be like, actually, you've been, brushing your hair in a certain way and it annoys me, and I like actually can't deal with it.
So what are the biggest flaws you discovered about yourself?
Through
either that or just knowing it?
Well, for a little while I was drinking a little too much. I am a lightweight. It's hard to accept it. It's really hard to accept it. So I think that's something like, you know, I started taking Lexapro and then like one drink was enough at the time. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't used to that. And then I would like go crazy, you know? Mm-hmm. But that was probably the biggest thing. I think, yeah, I'm also a yapper. And sometimes that makes like, that's just not great in social situations. Or when you're meeting new people, sometimes I struggled to read a room, but those are things that I've worked on since, you know, my first relationship and just over time.
So your current relationship, your situationship started when you were 20 or 19?
20, yeah.
20. Something
like that. I'm trying to think. It was around this time of year, 2 years ago. So I was, 20.
So we'll call it 20 for the sake of this conversation. And then prior to that, your relationship was how long ago and when did it start?
So it had ended, like there was a good 6 months in between the two relationships. Mm-hmm. And that was about a year-long relationship. Because I remember I broke up with him and then I looked at my phone like within the week and was like, I think I texted him happy 1 year after I broke up with him. So that was a little mean, I think. But
so 18-ish to 19-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was I was living in a 7-bedroom, like someone was renting rooms out of their house. Mm-hmm. And so I was living with 7 like 40-year-old men and we shared a bathroom and there was no kitchen. There was a microwave. And the reason is I convinced my parents to let me stay there. They didn't really know any of the details. They thought I was living with a bunch of girls, but I convinced them because I just started dating my first boyfriend. And I was like, I need to stay in Seattle for the summer. I'm not going back to California. Like, I need to stay here. And so that was a horrible situation.
Why was it horrible?
Because I just like wouldn't stay there. The landlord was crazy. Like sharing a bathroom with 7 like grown men. And like, I didn't feel super safe.
Is that where you sexually got assaulted?
No, that was that was right when I went to undergrad. But yeah, it was just, I stayed at my boyfriend's house pretty much for that entire time when I was like living there. Mm-hmm. So he was a saving grace, but.
I feel like it's way worse sharing a bathroom with girls.
Yeah.
Every time guys, it's like you have like soap and like your toothbrush. And the girls' side is like a fucking disaster zone.
I mean, it was weird because there weren't like great locks. Like the landlord would check the cleanliness of my room. So she'd get a credit card and like slide it down the door and like get into my room.
Oh
so knowing that she would and like we didn't sign any documents. I paid her $700 in cash, which was like great.
Yeah.
Because my parents said like we'll pay for it, but it's gotta be super cheap for you to stay there. That's why I ended up in this crazy place. But you know, like if she could do that, anyone could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Okay. So you're staying at this place and then you're going to college at this point?
Mm-hmm. So I studied philosophy, graduated in 2.5 years, mm-hmm. and then now I'm in law school.
Okay. And so during the time when you were in college studying philosophy, you were dating. So this was in Seattle, or where were you going to college?
I went to UW in Seattle. Yeah. University of Washington.
Got it. So, but you weren't staying at the dorms.
So my first year I was in the dorms, and mm-hmm. then in the summer I was going to live in a fraternity. Yeah. I feel like everyone knows that, but, and then I had this like scandal where I created a fake sorority. And so I was no longer able to live in the frat. So that's another way I ended. And my boyfriend was like, no way you're living in a frat. No way. That's not happening.
Wait, why did you create a fake sorority?
So I was going to graduate early anyways. So I like the timeline didn't work out for me to be in a sorority. Like there's a live-in requirement.
Yeah.
And my friend group and we would go out to the frats. Like we didn't really care. And UW is kind of like iffy about going to frats when you're not in a house. So we made a lot of connections and we realized, what if we like create a sorority and host events and then have like mixers with the frats like a normal sorority would. Like, what if we just like make it up? Like, what if we just make it a thing? We wouldn't have any of the like pro bono requirements. We wouldn't have to do any of the like charity. So that sounds so bad, but like we thought like, oh, this is awesome. It's a sorority without the responsibilities. And we named it A-double-sig. Ass.
Interesting.
And we like were looking at houses to buy a house. Like, it was crazy.
Were you collecting dues and everything?
No, like it was just a friend group, you know?
Okay.
But then we like actually did plan multiple events. I was the social chair. Okay. So I had all the connections. And we planned an event like with one of the top houses at the school. And it was like going great. We had a great time. Like, we went to the house. Like, it was this big joke and everyone thought it was super funny until the girls in the other sororities found out. And they were like, we weren't invited to a not real event, like a fake sorority event.
Yeah.
Like, they pay to go to these events and hang out with these frats. And like, if you're a top house sorority girl, you're probably like, oh, I'm glad I'm like able to talk to these guys and not these guys, because Greek life is huge there. They have like tons of houses. So people got really angry and like flamed us on Yik Yak, which is
What the fuck is Yik Yak?
Yik Yak's like,
The Gen Z are coming up with too many new shit.
no, it's so good. Okay, so it's like your area, like whoever's maybe in like Hollywood right now, they can text into this like anonymous forum and say anything. And so when you're in like Greek life, it's like kind of just that area. So people will just like
Trash.
boil the frats. Like, they'll just like completely, and you can't say names, but you can like kind of say like first letters of names. And so the drama, like there's a story about a tridelt getting pregnant, and people would just say like, saw the pregnant tridelt in the library. Like, none of it's true, but people would just like start these weird rumors. And so we got like flamed on it. And
Basically like real life Gossip Girl.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. But it was like really intense. Like, I got social anxiety from it. Like, it was scary. And some of the girls then tried to like say they weren't a part of it because they were so scared and they were like wanting to get into sororities. And like some of them had trouble getting into sororities because of it. Or like deleted their Instagrams. Like, it was like a big deal. Like, I mean, I didn't really care that much. I was like sick. Like,
I'm out.
who cares? Like, people, the guys thought it was funny, but a lot, like if you ask someone at UW right now, or maybe who went to UW at that time and was in Greek life, they'd be like, oh, I heard about that girl Fia. She was in that fake sorority, wasn't she? It's like,
Okay, so when you started this, did all the, I'm assuming you said all the people that were in it knew that it was fake, obviously.
oh yeah.
So you didn't recruit anybody that was like confused about.
No, I think that would be fraud. We just it was just like a friend group, but it was a huge friend group that we'd all go out together. We were like the Jeeds, like the non-Greek life people.
So in hindsight, who fucked up?
I don't know. Like, it's like, do I even call it like fucked up because it was a fun thing that like it was
No.
fun.
Like who snitched? Like, who was the one that kind of gave away? Like, how did that other sorority, like, who?
We had an Instagram. Like, we were like posting our social events.
So I understand that, but at some point somebody might have, like, somebody thought to themselves, oh, okay, they're not real.
Well, it's A-double-sig. Like, that's not a, like, you can look it up. Like, is this a sorority? Like, no, because it spells out ass.
I still don't understand though the concept of a fake sorority. Like, a sorority is just like a bunch of people who like decide that they're a sorority and like we're cool.
Well,
Like, you could just make like we could just call each other the Avengers, and now we're the Avengers because we just said we are, and that's our group name. Like, how is it a fake?
so they're funded by like the chapter. Like, it's like certain letters are funded by like the main, like, say it's
So they like own these letters, like they have
like
trademark,
Sig
like,
Chi is
copyrights
like
on-
a thing. Like, there's like a
Like, they're alumni, and
Yeah.
there's like people that
I
are
see.
their parents, and their parents have like been a part of it.
It's like an ancestry tree. It's like insane.
and the school has to approve them, and then like there are different like IFC councils, and like people get taken off if there's like a sexual assault situation in the frat, or like if like sometimes there are suicide situations and people get like taken off of IFC, or, you know, like the council of frats.
But how many frats and sororities are there? There's like a lot, no?
Yeah, there are a lot. Schools will kind of pick and choose. So some schools have 5. My school had like 17.
Okay, so it's fairly easy to kind of know if a new one pops up that nobody's ever heard of. I
Yeah,
guess. Okay.
Especially when it's called the ass.
Ass.
Yeah, and we like spelled it out on our Instagram. Like it was like it looked like it was obviously fake.
It's funny. It's a funny, like, I'm surprised people didn't just think it was funny. I would have thought that's hilarious.
I think,
but I guess
like,
you're taking their guys. That's
yeah,
what
like
they
the
got
guys
pissed
thought it was hilarious and like fed into it, and we had like probably a month of social events planned. You know, social chair, but it just exploded because I mean, if you're paying to go to these parties with these guys, and then these girls come in who aren't paying.
Yeah, but if you're mad, like if you're a girl and you're mad that somebody else is taking your guys, like, be hotter. Like, go to the gym. Like, what do you mean? Like, you can't just, you can't talk to these guys because, like, I'm not hot enough, but, like, I paid for this, like, little piece of paper that says I can talk to them. Like, it's like, it's...
I'll go back and type that on Yik Yak. You're just not hot enough.
Yeah, there you
Get
go.
me on the Yik Yak.
Yeah.
Those fuckers have no idea what's coming to them once
It's
I'm
dangerous.
on the Yik Yak.
Yeah.
So in order to get on Yik Yak, do you have to be? Do you have to go to the school, or do you just have to be in that vicinity?
We could do it right now. Like anywhere. Doesn't even have to be a school. Like there's probably one for Hollywood.
Oh, so there's just like forums.
Yeah.
No. I'm asking for the college.
There might be like a college specific kind of like chat, but I think anyone can enter it. It's not like.
So you don't have to be there in order to be in that forum.
You have to be presently in that area.
Okay,
so I
you
remember
do,
I'd
okay.
go on like vacation to Eastern Washington. There's another big party school there, and I'd look at their Yik Yak and I'd see like what's the drama here.
Got it. Okay. So you mentioned something about being in a situationship with your ex or with your boyfriend for 2 years. So what made it a situationship? Because I always have a very difficult time understanding that how Gen Z can't distinguish the difference between being in a relationship versus dating. And so they somehow came up with this new concept calling it situationship, which makes no sense.
Yeah, he was seeing other people. I like can't see multiple people at once. It's like not a problem, but like I genuinely just can't. Like I'll go on one date with someone and like that's the only person. And so I guess I can get her easier, but
So you were essentially in a one-sided open relationship.
yeah.
Okay.
But you know, when we met, neither of us were looking for a relationship. Like I'd just come out of but I'd come out of a terrible relationship. And I think he was talking about how, you know, he was thinking about getting deployed. And I was thinking about going to law school, and I did. Like he lives in Washington and is currently in a foreign country. And like, you know, long distance is tough. And we knew from the beginning that it would be long distance at some point. Like we knew, like it was doomed from the start. So for a long time, it like that was the excuse. Or then it was like, you know, he's a little younger than me, like 1 year, but he was like 20. So, you know, like a 20-year-old guy who like hasn't even gotten his ID yet, wants to go out with his friends who, you know, like they're like running around, and it's like a rite of passage. I didn't want to take that away from him, or, you know, I'm not controlling. I think it took a while for him to understand that I wouldn't put those limitations on him and be like, you can't go out, you know?
A 20-year-old telling another 20-year-old that is just wild.
Yeah. But I guess we just weren't really sure what to do.
Okay, so then what switched?
So it's hard to say like we did long distance before we were dating because we both kind of were seeing other people. I was seeing someone here and he was seeing a few people there. But we would text and call like every single day. And I felt like he still was like my person, to the point where I'd go on a date with someone else and it would go great. And I'd be like, just thinking about him the whole time. So I think we got to the point where it felt wrong. Like it felt weird to not be together. And then he visited me and I visited him before he left for the foreign country. And, you know, over that time, it just was like, we are literally acting like boyfriend and girlfriend, except we both are like attempting to talk to other people and it's not really feeling fulfilling. Yeah. And like, we're already saying, I love you. Like, just because we've known each other, like we could have said it before we started dating. You know what I mean? Like it's just a weird situation we were in. And it took us kind of doing long distance to realize that we could do long distance.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Obviously I'll ask you probably this question later. I'm trying to think if it even makes sense, but perhaps it does. What do you consider cheating?
I've been seeing this on like social media lately, and people will say like, oh, like liking another girl's. I don't think liking someone's post is cheating. Like, I don't know. Some of that stuff is crazy to me, but maybe I'm just wrong. I think cheating is like having sex with someone, or like potentially like a makeout sesh. If you kiss someone at a bar, like I wouldn't want you to do that. You know, obviously there's a lot I wouldn't want him to do. I wouldn't even want him to look at another girl, but like death immediately. But you know, that doesn't mean it's cheating. I feel like when I think of like my ex cheated on me, and I found out right like a year after I broke up with him. Like because he slept with someone else. Like that was what like you know what I mean? Like cheating in my mind is like the full thing.
Mm-hmm. How did you find out your ex cheated on you?
He told me. He was doing like AA or something and had to admit all these things to me. And he was, because he got 2 DUIs. And he was like, he called me up one day and was like, yeah, so I'm a pathological liar and I cheated on you. I'm like, oh, couldn't tell. But I broke up with him the same week he cheated on me because I felt like something was off. I mean, things were off for a while, but like there's just something about like intuition. I don't know.
Girls can read shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Girls I date, if I walk into a room and there's another girl in that room who I've hooked up with, I swear they will know. And they go talk to that girl. It's weird. Like they always go talk and like become friends kind of with the girl. And it's like a weird, like, I'm like, do you know and you want to be friends with her? Or do you just, is it a weird like feeling that just draws you to that person? Because I'm like, no, don't talk to that one. Like, don't talk to that one over there, you know?
I like always love doing that with my boyfriend. Like he'll say something. The other day he said something like, oh yeah, I met someone once with different colored eyes. And I was like, oh, like when did you fuck her? And he was like too stunned to speak. Like I just like, it's weird. You just know.
Interesting.
So when he told you that he cheated on you, did that hurt you at all? Or because it was a year later that it didn't make a difference?
I think it hurt me that I didn't know in the moment. I was a little suspicious, but he went to Rolling Loud and cheated on me. But it didn't really hurt me. I just was like, damn, I was cheated on. How do I even process that? You know? Mm-hmm. But I find that like, I don't know. It didn't make me insecure. I don't even know who it was with. Mm-hmm. He was going through a lot at the time, like clearly like 2 DUIs and like I genuinely like still hope the best for him. Even though he did that, like, and even though our relationship was awful, I still like want the best for him, like, cause we started as friends. But yeah, I kind of was just like, okay, that's, you know, this is part of his journey, admitting this to me. Hopefully he's getting better. Hopefully it's not going to happen to someone else.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you don't consider somebody going to the bar and kissing somebody else cheating. So if your boyfriend comes back and says, hey, I was at a bar, you know, while I'm deployed on this long distance relationship that we were having, and, you know, I was a little, you know what, not even drunk. I was just like, I had one drink. I'm a little tipsy. And I made out with this girl.
See, like, I feel like made out and kiss are different, but also, I don't know.
So made out is cheating, but kiss, like,
well,
I mean, who the fuck, like, goes, like,
I know.
It could have been one of the, like
a dare. I don't know.
Or they do, like,
yeah.
Like the culture.
But that's not, but nobody who has a sexual desire towards somebody else goes, like,
It's given a peck.
just like, why? Like, that just never happens.
Yeah. I mean, with him specifically, I know that he separates like sex and how he feels. Like they're just very separate for him.
Of course.
So I think like cheating would, I don't know, like intellectually cheating like offends me more than like physical cheating. Obviously I don't want him to have sex with anyone else or kiss anyone else. Like if he's watching, don't do that. But you know, I think that I could maybe talk it out or like try and figure it out. Maybe I wouldn't be able to. Maybe I wouldn't be able to trust him again. But I think I could try and figure it out if he kissed someone. I think beyond that, it would be hard for me to figure it out just because I wouldn't be able to trust him.
Got it.
But the word cheating, you know, it's just a word. It's more like, what would you do in those situations?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And I think everybody's perspective is different. You know, everybody has a different line. I mean, majority of people do end up agreeing on the basic, you know, fucking somebody else is cheating. But then the line changes for some people. We've had guests that they were like, oh, if you flirt with somebody else and you have intentions of like fucking with somebody else, you're cheating. Or like, you know, if you're texting and there's that's emotional cheating if you're like having a sort of relationship with somebody else. Or like, you know, there are people who were like, if you're liking somebody else's photos, you know, done, cut, dead. So what do you consider cheating?
For me, I mean, just at the basics, anything that like goes outside of the boundaries that you set in a relationship, obviously. But then that's, like you said, is so different for other people. So for me, like if you're going to kiss someone else, to me, that's like, hey, you're cheating. And so, yeah, I guess I would say like kissing, but like liking photos, all that shit does not bother me. But any type of sexual interaction with someone, I would consider cheating.
Got it. It's interesting because I think you having cheated so many times, do you have a different, do you have like trust issues more so than normal?
No, not at all. So I'm like so not controlling, very trusting. And to me, it's until you break that trust, then we have an issue. But yeah, I've never been controlling really in my entire life. But yeah, I'm very, very easy with that because to me, I know if you try to put me in a box and try to tell me what to do, I know what happens. So for me, how I like to present my relationships is give them the freedom that they need. You know, I don't mind if they talk to an ex. I don't mind. That doesn't bother me. And not to be like cocky, but I'm a very confident person in myself. So I'm very secure that like my insecurities don't bleed into my relationships because it's really weird, but I really don't have any. I feel very strongly about who I am. And if you do want to go out and cheat on me, then it's your loss and that's that. You
suggesting you have no insecurities whatsoever?
I mean, well, I have like, okay, like right now I want to lose more weight. So like I have like that. But when it comes to like relationships, I really don't. Like if my guy is talking to another guy or my guy is talking to another girl, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm not going to be over there like, oh my God, what is he saying to that girl? Even if she's hot. If she's hot, I'll probably be like, damn, that girl is fucking good looking. But yeah, that like it doesn't bother me. If they like something on social media, I don't give a fuck.
What are your thoughts on threesomes?
I'm very open to them. Yeah, I don't mind them as long as things are set. I haven't had one in like 4 or 5 years. So it's been a while, but I'm open to that stuff as long as to me, as long as you have your foundation with your partner and you talk about clear boundaries of what the expectations are and what the boundaries are and safe words or whatever you need, then sure, it can be a beautiful thing.
What are your boundaries? Do you have boundaries or?
I don't know, because it's weird. When I did have threesomes, I was never emotionally like emotionally attached to one of those people. So now I think it would be a lot different. But to me, I think, again, it's just communication. I think that I probably wouldn't want my partner texting the person like solo. That I think would be like a little too much for me. Maybe if this was someone that we did it with often, and then I could feel a little bit more comfortable. But I would definitely have to know the girl first too. That's like definitely for sure. I'd have to like have one-on-one time with her, go to coffee with her or something.
Very interesting. Have you ever had threesome?
I haven't. I actually was invited to film one last week, and I unfortunately said no. But
wait,
I went out with 3 friends, and there was a threesome that happened without me. And I was kind of
Wouldn't
worried.
That at that point be two? Wouldn't it be
There
threesome?
were 3 of them.
3 friends.
Oh,
Three
you were
friends.
literally just gonna film it.
Well, because I'm not gonna. I can't.
That's why I
boyfriend.
was confused. I
okay,
thought the
got
same
it.
thing at
Yeah.
first. I thought she
Got
was
it.
gonna be in it.
No, like
we
they
thought
wanted,
you were a main character.
Well, they, like I could have been, I think, but
So you would have been in a foursome
You're
at
gonna
that
be
point.
DP, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess if I wasn't with my boyfriend, like, I don't even know if I'd consider it. Like, maybe because it's like, check it off the rice purity test list if it's even on there. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I couldn't do it, especially if I was with a partner or someone that I was into. I don't know if I get jealous, but I would get like upset. I don't want that. Like, I wouldn't be jealous and like, oh, I wish that was me. I would just be like, that's gross. I don't want that. Like, I don't know. Like, if I like really like someone, the thought of him even thinking about another girl like makes me like like.
But that's very
See,
unrealistic, though. No?
I find that attractive. I'm weird.
You
I'm
find it
totally
attractive if the guy you're with is thinking
someone
about
else.
other girls?
Yeah, I do. I have a sick mind. I do. But I understand the male mind. Like, I understand, like you said, it's like abnormal. Like, we're all human. We're going to be attracted to other people. Like, I'm attracted to other people in a relationship or not, even in my monogamous ways now. But I understand the male mind, and it's just very natural for men to be sexually attracted to other women and to check women out. So I don't know. I just think differently.
So, okay. So to clarify, you think that it turns you on.
Yeah. So that's a little, yeah.
No, I think most girls it does, actually.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Most what?
To me, I think it might
Almost
be.
all girls are like that.
Like what?
I think most girls are attracted to the fact that you could get other girls.
But that's not what she's saying. Or is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's that. I mean, it's the same thing, but it's more like, yeah, like if he wants to go fuck someone else, sometimes I could find that hot.
Yeah, that's what she's
Like the
saying. That while
psychology.
she's with the person.
Yeah, but it's the implication that like, oh, what if he? It's like the thought of like, oh, what if he got with her? Oh, I don't want her to like him to get with her, so I want him for myself, and that's kind of like attractive because it's a form of almost like jealousy in a way.
But what she's implying is that while she's with the person in a monogamous relationship, she finds it arousing that the guy would be thinking about another girl. Whereas most women would not find that arousing at all. They would be offended by the thought.
They would be mentally offended, but then I think it would like kind of get the fire going. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't like it, but they're attracted to it. You know
What you're insinuating is more so towards the fuckboy theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I understand. So explain the fuckboy theory so they understand what you're talking about. Although she's a lost cause at this point, but I think Sophia could be.
I mean, essentially, I don't know if this is the fuckboy theory. Essentially, I think that girls are attracted to something different than they like. So girls are attracted to the fuckboy who like you never know what he's doing and he's kind of mysterious and
I can fix
he's getting
him.
like all these girls like him and you kind of know he's kind of fucking around, but there's something about him that like energy. But then that's also the thing you don't like about him is he's probably fucking around and he's super unreliable and things like this. So you have one side of your brain that's like attracted, but then you don't like it. But then you date some guy that you like, but then oftentimes if it's like the guy who's too nice or whatever, he checks all the boxes. I bring him home to mom and my mom loves him and everything, but he's just missing that like energy, that fucking like guttural, like animal attraction, you know?
I think my boyfriend went like when we met, he was kind of like a fuckboy, but he's calmed down a little bit.
You changed him.
I don't want to.
That's every girl's dream is
Yeah.
to take a fuckboy,
and
but he's
change
not a fuckboy for me because I changed him. That's like every girl's like archetypal dream. Yeah.
Changed them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
time
think
will
he
tell.
just
Yeah,
he
time will tell.
matured. I think like he went from being 20 to 22.
Yeah,
I don't know, 21.
And now,
But
now I'm a recovering fuckboy.
Yeah.
yeah,
so-
I don't know. So I guess that attraction's like still there, even though he's not doing that sort of stuff. But we have celebrities that like we'll talk about, and he'll be like, "Oh, she's so hot," and I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah." Like we just kind of like talk about that. There's this one OnlyFans girl, Ari Kitsia, and like we love talking about her. Like, oh my god, did you see her post? Like, it's like our little
Wait,
thing.
do you guys like subscribe to OnlyFans?
One time I subscribed to a guy's OnlyFans because I was talking to him and I wanted to see what was on it.
No way.
But no, we don't. But it was just kind of like that's like what she's known for. She's just like a creator.
You know what's crazy? I always ask. So I've dated 2 girls who have done OnlyFans in the past, and I know girls who do it, but I would always think like, who are these people who like pay money to subscribe to someone's OnlyFans? And I would always picture like some like fat dude, you know, who looks like a bowling ball stacked on top of an exercise ball in his mom's basement. And it's like, you're the first person I met who subscribed to OnlyFans.
Thank you.
Or at least
Only
who
one.
admitted it.
He was having a sale.
Yeah, the 50% off.
It was like $5. Yeah.
Makes
So I
sense,
was like,
yeah.
okay,
That
what are
adds
you
up.
posting on here? If we're gonna be talking, like, what are? He ended up being not it, but
Why was he not it?
because his job was managing girls' OnlyFans. So like he got a content house just so that the girls could go there and film, and like there were always like topless girls there, and like it was like my first LA party experience. So it was kind of fun, but then I was like, I'm not looking for this, you know.
Interesting. You have an OnlyFans,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
You're still actively working on it?
Yeah. I have like a non-full nude one. I did it because when I was 20, I don't know, 3, 4, 20, I think I was 25 actually. I started my first company. I was in college. And at that time, I enjoyed Instagram was just becoming like a thing. And I was really into fitness. And so my body was like A1. So I felt good. Like after the gym, I would post like a picture and then like do the behind, you know, the butt shot. And backpedal. I had an internship at a medical marketing firm. And so I was doing both of that before I started my agency. And all of a sudden, after being there for 2 years, they told me that I basically had to choose these hot photos or the internship, and that I couldn't be both. And I remember like my Instagram was actively growing. Like, you know, at the time I'd wake up to 300 new followers, 400. And this is 2015, 2016. This was prime time. And so I remember just sitting in my car, bawling my eyes out, confused, like, why can't I be both? What's the difference? I still show up to every day. I'm doing incredible work for you guys. So from there, I remember deleting a bunch of stuff. I stopped posting for years. And actually, it was funny, the guy that I was dating on and off for 5 years encouraged me to start being hot again. He was like, why are you? Because I'd literally dressed like I was a lawyer for years. I wouldn't even want anyone to see, even like I got my boobs done. No one even knew. Like I was super like, you know, it was like I was going to church every day or something. So he encouraged me to just like to bring out like my sexy side again. And so I remember just starting to do that a little bit. Now I have my company, I have a marketing agency, and then I had a data company. And I would just get like hate comments of like, how are we supposed to treat you seriously as an entrepreneur if you're showing up half naked online? And I'm like, literally like, what the fuck? This has nothing to do with what I built. And I get when you build companies that you are the brand, right? But then I was dealing with, I'm also a person outside of what I do. And I realized I wasn't the only one who struggled with this. My agency, we worked with some high profile people, specifically in sports, and a lot of athletes would struggle with, I'm not just a baseball player, like I'm this. And so it kind of just started this fire in me. And I'm like, well, if I do the boldest thing I can do, I can't come back from it. And so OnlyFans launched like 2 years prior or something. And I was like, well, I'm going to tie my name to the most stigmatized platform. And then I'm fucking free. I can be my fucking self. So it's why I did it, never thinking I would make money, because I knew I was, and this isn't to judge anybody that does the most on the platform. I wish that I could mentally do it because I would make retarded, silly money. It's insane. But I knew my boundaries. I'm like, I'm never going to fucking make money. And I still did a lot because of my YouTube channel. And so I was like, what the fuck? And so I'm like, I'm not stopping this shit. It's a cash cow. So here we are today. But now it is very difficult for me now because now I have a tech startup. I'm raising money for the first time. I basically bootstrapped all my past companies. And so, yeah, now it's very hard. But that's the long-winded story of I have an OnlyFans.
It's crazy to me to think that, like, okay, so I used to have a company in the modeling industry. And there's, like, 2 groups, kind of, right? There's, like, the, like, fashion runway models. And then there's kind of, like, the influencer / OnlyFans scene, right? And it's so weird because the fashion model types very much like look down at kind of the OnlyFans and the Instagram models as if like they're somehow like higher up on some pedestal of modeling or something like that. But first of all, half of them have sugar daddies, so I'm like, okay, you have an OnlyFans, you have some dude paying you for sex. Like, what's the like what? Like, if anything, you're doing more than they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then second of all, it's like OnlyFans actually takes some level of like entrepreneurship and work ethic and like figuring out marketing and all these like skill sets. So if like I was hiring someone for a business and she was super successful in OnlyFans and like built her Instagram to 1 million and knows how to funnel people and work the psychology of human beings to take out their wallet and spend money, I would much rather hire that person versus most of the fashion models that I meet who kind of just like lay on their couch and like, I hope my manager gets me a gig. Nope. All right. Sugar daddy, can you like wire me some money? Cause like I don't have any left. You know, I would rather take the OnlyFans girl 100% of the time.
Yeah. Well, I wish more people were like you, especially in the tech industry. A lot of people like don't view it as a business, and it really is. I mean, I started in the beginning making like $3,000-$4,000 a month, and then got myself up to 10, and then started really looking at the data and analyzing it. And OnlyFans got a little bit better, but their analytics just weren't very thought out, and which is crazy. And so I created my own like data sheet and started just really looking at how I can multiply this, and then grew it, doubled it, tripled it, and started making like an insane income that allowed me to be able to fund my startup that I have today, which I put $500,000 into.
Very nice. Do you find it difficult to, I guess let me rephrase that question. Do a lot of the people you've slept with care about women orgasm?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times when I was like a little crazier, I've always kind of went older, but yeah, I'd say a lot of them don't really care. Mm-hmm. They don't, not as much.
Is that also your understanding based upon hearing your other female friends talk about the issue?
Kind of, yes. Yeah, I feel like it's like a worldwide thing. I feel like guys don't really mature sexually and like understand that, oh shit, a girl has to have an orgasm until like 40s. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they know what that is.
What's the oldest you've been with?
50.
50?
Yeah.
And how old were you at that point?
Me, what am I, 28?
20. You were 28 and he was 50.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's not terribly bad. But he was definitely functioning. Otherwise, that would have been...
Yeah, it was working. I would say the older, the better.
I would ask you the same question, but I feel like your experience within this area is very limited.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The oldest would probably be like 27 when I was 19, 20. Mm-hmm. But I've had a lot of older men say like, let me show you, like, let me show you the female orgasm and everything that it is. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like a lot of like 40-year-old men think that like they know, and maybe they do.
See, I told you 40 is a magic little time frame. They learn what it's like, and they're like, wait, let me teach the youngins.
To be fair, you guys have it way easier. You guys are just like, oh, we just like rub it up and down and then it fucking works.
Yeah.
Like we have to like learn how to like solve the Rubik's Cube blindfolded and like, what about this part and like this spot? It's like a whole maze in there.
It's way more complicated for sure. Yeah. And some girls really can't have an orgasm or like know that it's even a thing. I mean, for a while, I didn't even know what it was until I started dating the one guy that was older. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what have I been doing my whole life? I haven't been having sex. Yeah. So
that's funny. That does happen. Okay. Final question. Does size matter?
No. Because if you know what you're doing and you know how to work it, size doesn't matter. But if you're like really tiny.
Micro penis.
Yeah, micro penis, it's a problem. But you don't have to be like overly large. You just got to know what you're doing. And to me, it's sexual chemistry. And kind of to your point before, like intellectual. Like if I have that kind of sapiosexual and I feel like connected with you in your mind, like you could be really tiny and the sex could be fucking great.
Have you ever encountered a micro penis?
A micro penis, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, but there was no chemistry, so we can't say that was just, That was actually the
But
third person I slept with. It was like this big. I'm like, what is this?
You slept with 3 people who've had
No, it was with my third person I slept
Got
with.
it, got
Yeah.
Is it in?
Yeah. I literally didn't know. I had no idea we were having sex. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
And then he tells me he came, and I'm like, the fuck? It was like 30 seconds later too. It was bizarre.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
I just like kind of played it off and was like, okay, that was great. Awesome. Like, it was in my car. It was so ghetto. I was in high school.
Oh my God.
So I was like, yeah, I want to drive back. I'll drop you off.
You dropping him off makes it so much better.
Yep. It was my car.
The size matter.
Like, I think kind of like what you're saying, like if you know how to use it, and also within certain parameters, like there is such thing as too big.
You gotta be in the bell curve.
Yeah, and boyfriend dick, someone invented this like phrase online. I think it might be like Harry Jousey, but boyfriend dick is like average or a little above average, but it's like you can walk, and it's great, and they know how to use it, and like that's what you want for boyfriend. So I think, like, I guess I'm content. I don't know.
Well, boyfriend dick is as long as you're like within one standard deviation of the bell curve. I think that you fall within that. Yeah, scientifically.
She's like, yeah. Did you understand what he said?
Yeah, like there's like the, there's like the
bell
middle.
curve standard deviation. Yeah, it's like how wide you have of the bell curve. Yeah.
You guys are fucking hilarious. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
You're
this was
absolutely
awesome.
fantastic. There's you guys are very interesting characters. You specifically, I think I would like to have you back on in like a couple of years, because I think your relationship is going to go to shit at some point. But you, on the other hand,
Kicked off.
You're like a fucking character. But I think we'll talk more off camera, so then I could like sort of understand you a little bit more to see like what is wrong with you, and then we'll be able to talk about some other stuff later in another episode. But thanks for your honesty, thanks for your openness. You guys were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was great. I'm glad you came. It was even cooler.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.